In a small town, there lived a quiet and shy girl named Mary. She rarely spoke, but always carried an old porcelain-faced doll with her. The children avoided her, and the adults only sighed, saying, "The child is just lonely." But then children in the town started disappearing. First a boy, then a girl, and then more and more. The police were at a dead end. No traces, no evidence. One day, when a woman entered Mary's room, she froze in place. There were more dolls on the shelf, and they all looked eerily familiar. Tiny hands that resembled real ones, eyes that seemed alive, and one doll that looked exactly like the boy who had gone missing the previous week. Mary sat in the corner, gently stroking the hair of her new doll. She looked up and softly said, "There will be another one soon." The police scoured the town, trying to find any trace of the missing children, but there were no leads. No one could imagine that the answer lay hidden in an ordinary house on the outskirts, in the bedroom of little Mary. One day, a neighbor girl named Lisa noticed Mary behaving strangely. She had always been alone, but now she whispered to her doll as if it were speaking back. Lisa decided to follow her. That evening, when Mary left her house, Lisa followed her. She saw Mary disappear into an old abandoned shed behind their block. Holding her breath and trembling, Lisa peeked through a crack in the door. What she saw made her blood run cold. In the middle of the shed stood Mary, surrounded by small wax figures resembling children. Their faces were twisted in expressions of terror, and their eyes were real. "They weren't obedient," Mary whispered, stroking a new doll. "But now they will always be mine." Suddenly, the girl sharply turned her head toward the door, as if sensing a gaze. Lisa turned and ran, but behind her she heard a soft, childlike giggle. "Now you will become a doll too." Lisa ran without looking back. Her heart pounded and the cold wind slashed her skin, but she didn't stop. Behind her she could hear only the rustling of grass and Mary's quiet laughter echoing in the darkness like a voice from a nightmare. She reached her house, slammed the door shut, and locked every bolt. Gasping for breath, she slowly stepped away from the entrance, trying to collect her thoughts. What did I just see? Was it a dream? This can't be real. But when she turned to her room, her body was paralyzed with fear. A doll was sitting on her bed. Lisa hadn't bought any new toys, and this one looked too realistic. Red hair, blue eyes, clothes that seemed familiar. Suddenly, the doll's lips stretched into a sinister smile. "Now you're one of us," whispered Mary's voice, and at that very moment, the lights in the room went out. The next day, the police received another report of a missing child, and Mary walked down the street, holding a new doll in her hands. Its eyes were blue, and its face was frozen in an expression of eternal horror. Mary smiled. "One more, but I need more." Days passed after Lisa's disappearance. The police combed through the town, questioning neighbors, but no trace of the girl was ever found. Only her mother swore that on the night Lisa disappeared, she had heard a strange whisper in her room. Meanwhile, Mary had already found her next target. Her choice fell on a boy named Max. He was different from the others. Quiet, reserved, almost invisible. The perfect candidate. One evening, Max was walking home through the park when he heard a soft voice call him. "Max, do you want to play?" He stopped. In the dimly lit alley stood a small girl in an old dress. In her hands she held a doll, a very familiar doll. Who are you?" Max felt chills run down his spine. "My name is Mary," she smiled. "I have a gift for you." Mary held out the doll to him. Max hesitated, but something in his mind urged him to accept it. Slowly, he reached out his hand. Suddenly, the doll's eyes blinked. Its mouth slowly opened and a haunting whisper escaped. "Help me!" Max screamed and threw the toy away, but it was too late. Mary's small hands grabbed his wrist, her nails digging into his skin. He tried to break free, but he felt cold darkness enveloping his body. The last thing he saw before the light faded was the doll with Lisa's face. Her eyes were filled with endless terror. The next morning, another child had gone missing, and Mary walked down the street holding a new doll in her hands. She already knew who would be next. The police searched the town again. Max's parents were drowning in grief, but just like in Lisa's case, there were no traces. The children were disappearing without explanation, and rumors began to spread about a mysterious girl in an old dress who appeared at sunset. One day, Mary's new target was a girl named Sophie. She was walking home from school when she suddenly heard a quiet voice behind her. "Sophie, do you want to play?" Sophie turned around and saw a pale girl with dark eyes. In her hands was a doll that looked eerily similar to her friend Lisa. Where did you get that doll?" Sophie asked, feeling fear flutter in her chest. "She's special." Mary smiled, holding out the toy. But this time, things went differently. Sophie took a step back, then another. She suddenly remembered a legend her grandmother had told her. If you see a ghost, never take anything from its hands. It's a trap. Mary tilted her head. Her eyes flickered with darkness for a moment. "Why won't you take her? She wants you to save her." "No," Sophie screamed and turned, running as fast as she could. Mary realized in horror that this time it was different. Sophie had resisted her influence. She hadn't taken the doll. The sinister girl clenched her fists. She felt her power weakening. The doll in her hands started changing, Lisa and Max's eyes coming back to life, filled with tears and hope. "No, no!" exclamation mark. Mary screamed. The wind howled, her body trembled, and suddenly she felt her very existence beginning to fade. Her screams dissolved into the night air. The next morning, in the yard of an abandoned house, people found a pile of old, torn dolls, and no one ever heard of Mary again. Or almost no one. Because sometimes, late at night, you can hear a quiet whisper in the dark corners. "Do you want to play?